now we're back at it. Had practice last night and back to a normal weekly routine. So we got a lot of work ahead of us this week and put a game plan together, and looking forward to playing on Saturday, early morning kick, in front of the home crowd. So it's supposed to be great weather. So we're excited about the game, and we released our uniforms last night. I'm sure you guys have all that, which is pretty cool. Nike had asked us to be, or gave us the choice of being one of the schools to represent Folds of Honor and our military, which certainly is a no-brainer for me, as you guys know how I feel about people that are willing to put their life on the line and fight on a daily basis for the freedom in this country. I think it's pretty cool for us to be able to represent them and show them our support. Make a difference if you come from the city, the country, if you're white, black, Democrat, Republican. I think everybody has an obligation to support the people that are willing to go fight for our freedom every day. And I'm a big proponent and strong supporter of our military. So it's an honor for us to be able to wear these uniforms and represent the organizations and the people that are willing to do whatever it takes for the greatest country on earth. So we're excited about that. Also, we hired Todd Bradford as Director of Recruiting. He's on the job as of today. Todd had been here before, left here when Coach Fedora left to be a defense coordinator at Southern Miss. He bounced around a few places, was out 1 year, was in private business, and we brought him back in recruiting, so he's on board with us at that time. With Kansas, Kansas has done very well offensively in the last few weeks. They made some adjustments. They're getting good quarterback play. They have fantastic running back play. They've got tall, rangy receivers that can really run, and they're moving the ball and scoring some points. Defensively, they're getting a little bit better each week. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, as I said earlier, but looking forward to this week's game plans and to early morning kickoff on Saturday.
What differences have you seen from their offense since they switched offensive coordinators, or is it that noticeable?
It's noticeable. A little bit of tempo difference, more vertical passing game, big play passing game. Quarterback's a good player. I think he's a senior now. I'm not for sure. He's been around, it seemed like he's been around forever. But he's really playing well this year, and the adjustments they've made on offense are pretty evident over the last few weeks.
With Coach Miles coming back to Stillwater, can you just talk about some of the memories that stand out most to you of coaching alongside him here at OSU?
Well, Coach and I have a lot of hours in offensive meeting rooms, particularly when he was the coordinator and I was the the quarterback coach, and he was the coordinator. Well, we have a lot of time in there, and I have really good memories of offensive football with him. He and I butted heads a lot, but in the end, we agreed. We came out on the same page. We supported each other, and we were good at it. We were good at moving the football together, and we had a good relationship. And it was unique and a little bit unusual seeing him in Phoenix in May at the Big 12 meetings, but it was fun. It was good to see him and spend time with him. So we have a lot of fond memories in the offensive room.
I talked to some former players about how it was when Coach Miles was here. They have the really long practices and everything. And then when you transitioned, you kind of cut that down, but still stuck with it a little. What was it like for you transitioning and taking over after you left?
My style of offense was different than what it was with Coach when he was here, and even when he was the head coach and I was the coordinator. Our approach was different, and so when we went through the transition, we cut back some on practices based on what we do. We ran a lot of different concepts down the field, played faster. So for us to be able to practice for 3.5 hours is somewhat unrealistic, so we cut back considerably based on the style of play.
Do you have any particular games that stand out? I know that he mentioned the Bedlam games that you guys won 16-13, and then the next year here, and then I always remember the game with SMU where Josh Fields and Rashawn set the NCAA record. But what are some of your best memory game-wise with him?
Well, the first year was tough until we went to Norman, and we found a way to win that game, which was awesome. And from that point on, we started to get a little better every year. The second year, Here we had a fantastic game plan, and we had really good players that could execute it, and we were able to move the ball pretty much at will in that game. It was a fun game. We beat Nebraska, I think, Robert, and that was a big win for us because wasn't that the first time in a long time? I remember that game as being a special game for Oklahoma State, the fans, the team, and then Coach and I. That was a lot of fun.
Obviously, there were a lot of changes that had to be made, some that you talked about already, but how would you assess the program that Les left for you when he left in 2004?
Gosh, we changed our style of play so much. We changed defensively. We changed offensively. So it's really hard to compare. Personnel was not what I wanted in certain areas based on the style of play. So there was a lot of adjustments. But we had some success. We went to, I think, two bowls in a row maybe. So we had some success. Guys started to believe in winning, which made it an easier transition.
Are you surprised at all with how quick he was able to kind of turn things around there at Kansas?
Well, they've done well. I don't know what their record is. Hadn't paid that close of attention, but it looks like over the last month they're playing considerably better. You know, they could have won at Texas. They've played better and starting to move the ball and score some points. And we all know in this league you have to move the ball and score points. And so he's made his adjustments there, and it looks like to me he's doing fine.
You mentioned they kind of had more of that vertical pass type of offense, but have you seen little bits and pieces in the run game that you say, oh yeah, that's a Coach Miles play or design or anything like that?
Not as much because they're not playing with tight ends. So, you know, my history with him is tight ends, at least one, and movements and shifts and motions and things like that. And that went on at LSU. So this is more of a different flavor than what I would be accustomed to in the meeting room with Coach.
What are some of the principles that have stuck with you from those days, even though the offensive scheme has changed so much?
To run the football. So we used some of the concepts in the spread over the last 10 years here. We ran a spread, but we still rushed the football. We've always done that here. And that was a carryover of some of the things that I learned from him. So, you know, I've been through so many coordinators now, but I guess when Larry came in here, Fedora, and we started the no huddle and the look over to the side, which was in, I think, 2005 maybe, I don't remember. But we were the first team in the league to do that, okay? We tied in some of that running game into that philosophy, and then the spread came in, and we stayed with the spread, but we also rushed the football. So that would be some of the things that I had learned during my time with him that we still somewhat implement today in the style of play that we have.
What do you think is the biggest test looking at Kansas's offense?
What about it?
What do you think you guys most have to look at during?
Well, they've been very effective with the vertical passing game, and you have to wrap that back up and get him down. If you bounce off of him and hit him, he's kind of like one of those bouncy balls. He just bounces around and keeps going. You're going to have to wrap up and get him on the ground. And the quarterback's been effective enough at rushing the ball that we've worked extremely hard this week in defending him on his running game. But in my opinion, they've been most effective in vertical passing off play action.
How did you feel about your open week? And I mean, I don't know if you have a good read on players you may get back that have been nursing some injuries, but how do you feel coming out of it, getting back into action?
We had a good practice last night. The players are eager, their attitude's good, the work ethic's good. They got some time off. Everybody needs a little time off, but I thought their focus last night was good, and we had a good practice.
You need some help, but do you even address with your team the fact that your team is still in the mix to go to the Big 12 championship? I mean, that's how crazy the league is.
We got to win the next game. If you watch this league, you realize that, well, in my opinion, most teams are susceptible every week. You got to have focus, got to have good practices, got to be tuned in, got to self-motivate. You got to get ready to go. And, I said this 2 years ago, I said it 4 years ago, and I'll say it again. There's more parity now in this league than there ever has been, just based on the style of play, the spread, offense's ability to score points, defense is getting spread out all across the field, and now you throw the portal into it where you can bring 1 or 2 or 3 guys into a program and completely change your team. The parity's here forever. So it's even more important for teams and coaches to focus and prepare each week because the teams all have a chance to beat themselves, in my opinion.
Like the word broke last week that Kevin Henry gets his 6th year. What does that mean to see him get another year?
Well, he's awesome for us. He's he loves Oklahoma State. He's graduated, so he's come in. He's worked hard. He's tough. He's overcome injuries, and he's been awesome for us. I mean, he's a true success story. So you like for him to be able to say, "Hey, I can play again another year."
I think he said in that video that he was the first guy in his family to get a college degree.
Did he say that? I don't know that to be true, but it very well could be. There's a number of times that the young men in our organization might be the first one in their family to even go to college, and so that could be true. He's already graduated and doing well.
But is that kind of one of those moments that makes you appreciate what you do when you know that you've changed somebody's life?
I tell you guys that all the time. People talk about wins and losses, and those are important. I don't want to discredit the importance of a win and a loss because we try to win every game. We work our butt off, but I've done this a long time now, and the success I see with young men that we have played a role in helping them graduate from college and giving them the opportunity to better themselves is awesome for me. I just got a text from a former player of mine that's in the NFL right now, and it was 2 days ago, and he texted and said, "Coach, I just want you to know that it's pretty amazing to watch the guys that used to be on our team when he was playing here." And he said, even whether they're scholarships or walk-on guys, they leave your program, they go out in the real world, they get jobs, and they're ultra successful because of the culture, because of the way they've been trained and the discipline and structure. And he said, I see a lot of other guys that I was friends with in college that weren't playing football. And he said some of them don't do as well because they haven't got that discipline and structure yet. Nothing against the other ones. I'm just telling you what the text said. That's an example of Kevin Henry. He's going to leave here at some point and go out and be successful based on the organization and the culture that he's in here in Oklahoma State. And that's not me. That's Rob Glass. That's the big picture. There's a lot of people that factor in, just like these uniforms. I don't even know what the uniforms look like until yesterday. Justin Williams and equipment staff, they do all that. He'll say, "Coach, what do you want to do?" You do whatever you want. Those guys are the best in the business, so I let them do it. Well, that's an example of all the different people that help in this organization and in our culture, and that's why we're able to stay on top and be in a position to graduate, I don't know what it is, 370 players in 15 years I've been the head coach here. Very rewarding for me. That was a long answer for yes.
You mentioned at the top bringing Todd Bradford on. Just kind of what went into that move?
Obviously, recruiting's important, and we need. I felt like we needed somebody that had been on the road and recruited and coached. It's so important to try to evaluate the very best we can. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars invested in NFL scouting for the draft, and they still make mistakes. So you can imagine what it's like at our level in trying to evaluate a 17, 18-year-old young man that you're trying to get information on, not just football-wise, but all the other things that are important, particularly here in our culture. Todd's been on the road recruiting. He's been in a number of organizations. He's been successful. He's been reliable. He's a good evaluator. He knows almost every coach in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area in East Texas during his time when he was recruiting here. So I think he's a good addition for us. He's a tireless worker. He's very organized, and he's very structured.
How much did it help? I was just going to say, how much did it help? He was on your first staff.
Correct.
Your familiarity with him helped.
When back in those days, we could go out spring recruiting. And so the head coach that was me at that time, you'd go and they'd pick you up at the airport, take you to the hotel, and they'd say, okay, I'm going to pick you up or we'll meet downstairs at this time, and, you just kind of show up and go. And from day one, he'd say, all right, we're going to meet at 6:45 because we got to be at whatever school at 7:15, and here's your paperwork on every school we're going to tomorrow, every prospect, head coach, names, numbers, all the details on everything. Because believe it or not, I don't know everything about every school. I don't have just an area. I've got to go everywhere. So he gives you the answers to the test the night before. You meet at that time and you go, and then you don't stop, and he doesn't eat lunch. So I don't know if he does that just because the head coach is with him or not, but I'm like, dude, we got to get some beef jerky or something. I mean, I can't roll all day. I'm starting to bob and weave a little bit here. So, and then we stop at 6 o'clock that night. You hit 6 or 7 schools, and it's just one to the other. And then he finished in recruiting. He was able to sign all different types of players from all different backgrounds and different environments and have success during his time here. So that made me think that he would be really good as a director of recruiting for Oklahoma State football.
Patsy was really in that role just for a year, but how impactful was she? Because I know she talks about things like opening up your house to recruits and stuff like that.
She had a lot of really good ideas, and it was interesting when she moved over to being an assistant athletic director and kind of move up the chain in her world. I took a while to decide who we wanted to bring in and what we needed that I, in my opinion, thought could help impact our recruiting more than anything. And so we were able to take some of those ideas and keep them, and then with Todd working with Mike Gross and their recruiting staff, continue to integrate and bring things together to make it even better. It's an extremely difficult job, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort from a group of people.
Mike Gross, so is he staying on to help
Oh
with
yeah,
Don?
yeah. Mike's still doing what he's doing. Yeah. There's so many areas. I mean, you could almost have. Well, it'd be you guys could research it. There's some of these teams across the country that have 15, 20, 30 people working in a recruiting office. We have 6, 7. So you could put a guy to work and just break it up, and they could still have lots to do in order to try to give us the best chance to bring quality young men in the organization.
Speaking of recruiting, it came out last week that KU, with the support of Big 12, was going to introduce a policy to the NCAA of possibly going with a 30-20 situation with recruiting classes, so where you could possibly bump it up to 30 in one period and at 20 the following year. Do you like that? Because I know that was the case last year, where with all the transfer portal, maybe going up to 30 last year might have helped you.
Yeah, with no disrespect, but you guys know how I am, it won't work. They're going to have to go 25-25, okay? So if you have 5 guys leave on the portal, you graduate 22 seniors, you have 2 guys that say, my shoulder's hurt, I don't want to play anymore, and it adds up to 33, you got to be able to bring 33 in. How much movement's on the portal now compared to last year at this time? You guys have y'all. I know y'all stole codes to get in the portal, right? You watched the portal. It's a lot, correct? The more people that move on the portal, the more players that move on the portal, you're going to have to be able to replace them. The NCAA is going to have to get it together. Or here's what's going to happen: 85 scholarship limit. Teams are going to be playing with 75, 76, 77. So what does that mean? Means more players are going to get injured. Don't have enough guys. So we're trying to be injury preventive, which we should, but we're not fulfilling the needs based on instigating a portal, which is fine. I have no issues with the portal, but we have to be able to balance numbers. I appreciate what they're trying to accomplish. It's not going to work. You're going to take 30, and the next year you get what? Okay, well, what if you have 21 seniors, 3 guys go on the portal, and 2 guys get medically redshirted, and you take 1 guy and dismiss him from the team because he won't stop smoking weed? How am I going to make those numbers up? It's not going to work. We need to quit BSing ourselves, and I'm not going to. I know Gavin's probably worried I'm going to go off on a rant, but I'm not going to. But I'm just calling it like it is. It's not going to work. What they're doing, I appreciate, because something needs to happen. Here's what needs to happen. However many go out based on we said we could have the portal, I'm good. We need to bring that many more in. And I need somebody to tell me why that won't work. That's just the way it is. And I'm not going to get into it because I mean, I've filed waiver after waiver after waiver after waiver. I'm not asking to have any more than 85. You told me I could have 85, right? I just need 85 when August rolls around. That's all I'm asking for. So I'll give you one more thing. Since you brought it up, I'm glad you brought it up. Here's the two things I want to do. Make sure Justin Williams know that he did a great job with this, okay? Make sure you guys knew I hired Todd Bradford, and I'm glad you brought this up. So if signing dates in December and February, we go through spring ball. On average right now in most Power 5 schools, you're averaging 2.5 to 3 players that are leaving to go on the portal. I mean, you guys would say, without doing the numbers, it's probably a pretty fair guesstimate, right? I did some in my brain, and I'm good. I can count to 5, okay? So if I have my numbers after signing date at 83 or 84, which is pretty good, and then I have 3 guys go on the portal after spring ball, and now I'm at 80. I'm supposed to be at 85. How am I going to get to 85 if I've already used my 25? I didn't know these guys were going to go on the portal. They don't tell you. They come in and want to go on the portal. I support them. How am I going to get back to 85? It's going to have to be in the summer with other portal transfers, correct? Got to have a way to do it. So it's not making any sense right now. And somebody's going to have a meeting and say, look, we put this in place. We really didn't understand the ramifications. Just like players, when they said the 4-game redshirt rule, how many people in this room think that that was intended for seniors? Be honest, come on now. Anybody? Okay, so if it's not, then we have to have a way to make up for that, particularly even if a guy says, hey, I want to take my red shirt and transfer. That's good, right? We've already agreed that we can let them go where we want. I don't get to replace them. If they're in good academic standing or even graduated and I can't replace them, not a good thing. It's going to cause problems. It's going to turn college football into the NBA. Just a matter of time. So that's my spill on that, and I'm glad you brought it up. And I'm not going to say anything else about it, but they better come to grips with. If we have 28 go out based on graduation, we're supposed to graduate players, right? Based on graduation, the portal, a medical, or discipline, I need to bring 28 in by August. I'm not even saying it has to be on signing day. It needs to be by August. So when we start camp, I got 85 out there, and I have my walk-ons. That's what should happen, in my opinion. So anyway, what else? You guys want to know anything about Syria? You want anything on China, on tariffs? What do you want to know?
What about the trade war with China?
Huh?
What about the trade war?
I say stick to your guns. I think it won't be long, and they'll be coming to grips. China will come to the table. They're always getting into the politics part, so I'm good with that.
We talked a lot about Kansas offense, but what about their defense? Because that's kind of been their project.
Well, in this league, Robert, you know that it's tough to be a defense coordinator, and guys in this league, never feel like they play as well as they want to. And I haven't followed any of Coach Miles's press conference or anything, but it's interesting. In our league, it seems like we're always saying if we can just kind of fight and hang on defense, and we never feel like that we play good enough. And in this league, you're trying to minimize big plays and force turnovers, and that's what we're all trying to accomplish on the defensive side of the ball in this league.
As far as your defense, now you've had a little bit of time to reflect over the last couple of games. How much improved has your pass rush been, and how much of it is calls, and how much of it is just guys growing up?
Both. Their technique's been better. Schemes have been a little better at times based on what we're getting. And Jim's called good games. And I always, I tell you guys after games, I listen. And I'm no expert, but I can tell when games have been called good or games have been called average. And I used to call games, so I know that there's times guys don't call very good games. But he's done a good job. And our schemes are getting a little better, and we're getting a little more mature at that position and getting a little bit of pressure. You got to be able to get some 4-man pressure on quarterbacks in this league. So you're not using 5- and 6-man pressure and vacating zones back there and playing man coverage. There's a lot of wide receivers in this league that are very capable of defeating man coverage. And there's guys on this team we're getting ready to play. So the 3- and 4-man pressure that you see a lot in this league is better. It's been better on our team in the last few weeks. And that has to happen in order for us to have success.
How much has that been complemented by the success and growth of the safeties the last few weeks? They've been great as well.
You know, we didn't have Trey in the last game, which was difficult for us. But, you know, I think they're all coming together. You know, as Boone used to say, I hate to look in the sack, you know. But I think we're making some good decisions. I think we're going through a little bit of a change defensively and kind of evolving in areas that Jim and the staff feel comfortable with based on our personnel. And it just can't happen overnight. It takes time. And I think we're evolving and making some strides. As long as we continue to focus, work hard, do all the things that we talk about all the time, and get a decent pass rush, it should give us a chance to have some success.
With your interior guys, it's hard to tell when those guys are playing well, sometimes from just an outsider's view. Who's playing well among your defensive tackles?
You know, we're getting good play from Israel. We're getting shared good play from our ends, you know, the guys that play out on the Weiss. 89's making some plays. So what you're saying is correct, because unless they're an outside pass rusher, you really don't know, because at times they get double teamed, they're gap control, they're just trying to hold their gap. So they might execute their job perfect and not even get to tackle. What they're doing as a group is starting to improve a little bit. Cam Murray getting a little bit better. The exciting thing for me is everybody's back. So they ought to really improve over the next month and even into off season and next year. As I said earlier, a lot of it can't happen overnight, but their play now, Scott, is much different than it was when we went to Oregon State, which is a good thing.
There were a lot of reasons you wanted to play LSU at the end of the 2011 season, but that idea of playing Coach Miles in the national championship game, was that exciting to you at the time?
You know, at that time, that wasn't what I was thinking. I thought we had the best team in college football, and I wanted to be able to play for a national championship because I thought we could win. Well, I'd want to play for it even if we couldn't win, but I thought we had the best team in the country. Based on who we had, we were healthy. We were up running on full cylinders. All the things were hitting. That was more so than who their coach was. Good? All right, thanks, guys and gals.